Vikram has finally been booked for culpable homicide, not amount Chancellor Angela Merkel, kick-starting the summit by greeting all global leaders. Earlier, Modi sent an unequivocal message to BRICS leaders asking for zero-tolerance policy to terror and BRICS cooperation in anti-terror operations. As the Prime Minister wished Chinese President Xi Jinping well for the BRICS summit, talks with China remain off the table amidst the ongoing border standoff. Modi is expected to hold bilateral meetings with leaders from Canada, UK and Japan, Italy, Argentina and South Korea, along with at least 9 others. Counter-terrorism, trade and sustainable development are expected to top Modi's agenda at the G20 Summit.
क्लाइमेट चेंज तथा आतंकवाद जैसी प्राथमिकताओं पर ब्रिक्स के नेतृत्व की आवश्यकता है। पेरिस एग्रीमेंट के अंतर्गत सहमति को इंप्लीमेंट करना अनिवार्य है। भारत क्लाइमेट एग्रीमेंट को लेटर तथा स्पिरिट में इंप्लीमेंट करेगा। हमें इंश्योर करना होगा कि अंतर्राष्ट्रीय वित्तीय संस्थाएं विश्व के मौजूदा आर्थिक बैलेंस को पूरी तरह से रिफ्लेक्ट करें।
All right, the latest news break coming in from the G20 Summit. The Prime Minister today raised the issue of terrorism. He talked about the LET, the Jaish-e-Mohammed, the Haqqani network at the G20 leaders retreat. Terrorism was what the Prime Minister mooted, said, leading the way on one of the most grave issues of our times is lead speaker on theme of terrorism. All right, so that's the latest that's coming in. I want to connect to my colleague Geeta Mohan, who is joining us with the very latest on that. Geeta, will you take us through this news break, please?
Well, the Prime Minister of India in that leaders retreat of the G20 leaders very clearly spoke about terrorism and the fact that there needs to be a concerted effort to fight terror. Haqqani network, Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, all of these terror groups were raised by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This even as President Xi Jinping at the BRICS Leaders Forum and meeting appreciated India's role in fighting and countering terrorism. So there has been a coming together of various leaders in ensuring that at least on one issue, that is terrorism, they all speak in one voice. But the big question is, will China stop supporting Pakistan and terrorism that emanates from Pakistani soil? That's the big question, even as leaders come out with an outcome on how to fight terrorism and how to counter the growing threat and menace of terror.
All right, Geeta, what are we to expect on the sidelines there? Of course, the Indian Prime Minister cornering Pakistan here with that statement, but where China is concerned, all eyes has been on President Xi Jinping and the Indian Prime Minister. We saw that photo opportunity there where both of them shook hands, but with all the rhetoric back home, how do you see it play out in Hamburg?
Well, the fact is that it is a start. It's a start on a positive note where Prime Minister and President Xi Jinping both took that initiative, made the initiative to really go ahead and talk. The puller side, I'm being told, had all issues, range of issues that was discussed. In that, the border tensions also came up between the two leaders, which just goes to show that the two leaders did not shy away from the most important but the most sticking point between India and China and its relations today, and that has to do with the boundary dispute, but the standoff at the border that continues, and that certainly came up during talks between the two leaders. How is it going to play out back home? We do know that even as the shake hands happened over here, the handshakes happened over here and in Astana, the violations and the transgressions were taking place at the border by China. So China can pull a lot of surprises even as it tries with the optics here in Hamburg. But there has been a mood and a shift in mood by various agencies and reporting that is going on in China, which basically goes to show that now they are looking at de-escalation of tensions. Will that really happen at the border or not is something we'll have to wait and see. But for now, it is a good start for the leaders to take that political initiative.
Right. And, you know, and talking about that, Geeta, my final question there, Because somewhere down the line, you know, both sides need to walk out of this because tensions have been escalated to a level, walk out of this, saving face, keeping their self-respect, or not seeming to look like they've backed down.
Well, that's right. Both the leaders, in many ways, people are discussing and asking whether this was an impromptu meeting. But it couldn't have happened knowing that if they either snubs the one initiating the entire conversation, then it would mean a real escalation of the tensions. Over here, the fact that they came together, they spoke, it was a pull aside, they did not want a bilateral, a full-fledged bilateral between the two countries, goes to show that they're behaving maturely and in a responsible manner. But will the Chinese side take that responsibility to a level where the transgressions really stop is something that we'll have to wait and see.
All right. You know, Geeta, what's the itinerary of the Indian Prime Minister?
Well, there are a lot of bilaterals that are taking place today. We have two crucial bilaterals with the Japanese and with the Canadian. The Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson is going to hold a press briefing around 4:30 p.m. here in Hamburg, which would mean about 8 o'clock in India. Around 8 p.m. expect details of the meetings that took place over here, as also what really happened and transpired behind the doors, behind closed doors during the BRICS leaders meeting is something we'll get to know. But there are a lot of bilaterals that are lined up for Prime Minister Narendra Modi, even as we were seeing and waiting whether the Chinese meeting is going to happen or not. There are crucial meetings that are happening with important leaders such as the Canadian leadership, the Japanese leadership, South Korea. There has been a strong statement against North Korea. It goes to show that they are trying to build consensus on a particular issue and also trying to ensure that by building consensus on this issue, the other countries come on board on issues that concern India and various other countries. Climate change, trade are going to be crucial, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be putting forth a very strong stand of India when it comes to protectionism in the trade aspect and trade area, economic growth, as also the fact that that India stands committed on the issue of climate change.
All right, you know, Geeta, stay on with me. We are once again going back to that news break where today, 3 months after the death of model Sonika Chauhan, the police have finally arrested the man Vikram Chatterjee, who was behind the wheel when that fatal car crash took place. While investigations has been on the case for quite some time now, despite substantial evidence there, the Kolkata police has failed to make a watertight case. Vikram has now been sent to police custody for 3 days. Watch this report.
Actor Vikram Chatterjee booked for culpable homicide not amounting to murder in Sonika Chauhan's death. An arrest that has come 3 months after a devastating car crash that snuffed out the life of this young woman. Vikram was behind the wheel in that fatal car crash and the main suspect in her death. First slapped with charges of negligence, the police has booked and arrested him for culpable homicide. But is there evidence to support the charge? Inconsistencies in the case have questioned the conduct of the Kolkata police. Importantly, why was no blood alcohol test conducted on him that night of the car crash? Reports confirmed that the broken liquor bottles which were recovered from Vikram's car confirmed presence of alcohol in them. Even Sonika's friends testified that they had seen Vikram drinking at the club that night. The police till now haven't been able to build a strong case against Vikram primarily due to its own shoddy investigation.
কখনোই বিক্রম পলাতক ছিলেন না। এই সম্বন্ধে আমরা আদালতে বলবো যে বিক্রম কখনোই পলাতক ছিলেন না এবং তিনি তার বাড়িতেই দীর্ঘ এই কয়েকদিন উনি বাড়িতেই ছিলেন এবং অন্য কোথাও যাননি।
And as Vikram moves the court for bail, the charges stand on shaky ground. Will justice be delivered to Sonika in death, or has a weak case built by the cops failed this 28-year-old woman? With Indrajit Kundu in Kolkata, Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, I have on the phone line with me Mr. Anirban Guha Thakurta. He is the counsel for Vikram Chatterjee. He's on the phone line with us. Sir, would you get us up to speed? You've, of course, approached for bail for your client. What do you expect? Do you think that the case of culpable homicide will stand in court?
See, actually, we have moved bail today, but unfortunately, the bail prayer has been turned down by the court. And actually, we are moving on two exact points. One is there was a actually bail application which was pending before the Honorable High Court, but that police didn't bother to wait for the judgment of that anticipatory bail. And I must say, we have a thought or we have a presumption that police was a bit proactive to arrest him on the very day when the application for anticipatory bail has been fixed for hearing on 13th July 2017, right? And unfortunately, this thing has happened all of a sudden, and we were completely astonished to see that Vikram was arrested last night, as we did not think it over in this manner, because Honorable High Court has fixed for anticipatory bail hearing on 13th July. Today we have mentioned before the High Court that exactly what has happened to the investigation. All of a sudden we have arrested because we were completely in his residence for last 1.5 months, and never police has tried to interrogate him, and never he has been searched for by the police. But unfortunately, yesterday night, yes, the fact is, yesterday night this particular incident happened, and we have moved bail application today.
Okay.
Before the court.
Why do you? All right, Mr. Thakurta, my next question. Why do you think that the case is not strong enough to stand in court where culpable homicide not amounting to murder is concerned?
See, a person, it is a proven fact that a person loves him the most, and if he has any knowledge that he would have also died in that particular incident, he would have never gone so negligent or so rash in this regard. And completely in this particular case, we have seen that Vikram was also inside the car, and he would have also succumbed to his injuries. He was seriously, as you know, he was seriously injured at the time of accident, and that might he could have also succumbed to his injuries. So a person who is also driving, and he knows that this kind of driving can drag him to the death, he could have never done so.
Why do you think,
just a mere accident.
Mr. Thakurta, why do you think that the case of negligence has been changed to culpable homicide, and why do you think that this arrest has happened after 3 months of the case?
See, I exactly don't find any reason, because he was never absconding. These kind of things happen when the accused is absconding. As in this case, 2 times he has been called for after he has been granted bail earlier when the offence was 304A IPC. He was granted bail then, and 2 times he has been called for from the investigating agency, and he has completely cooperated with the investigation. And never after that, never he has been called for from the police station. But this thing happened again and again. Further, I would obviously say that we don't find a reason why police acted so strictly on the last day, when exactly on the day when the Honorable High Court fixed it for hearing on 13th July 2017.
All right, appreciate it. All right, okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Thakurta, for joining us and giving out the details of the case of your client, Vikram Chatterjee, who has been arrested. So bail plea has been moved, but it's not today that Vikram Chatterjee would be released. I want to bring in Indrajit Kundu, who's joining us for more on this case. You know, Indrajit, let's just look at how this case has progressed over the last 3 months. It's bizarre, the kind of shoddy investigation that the Kolkata police has built for it. Because even today, you have booked Vikram Chatterjee on grounds of culpable homicide not amounting to murder. But do you actually have the evidence to support it in court?
Well, that is the big question, because initially this case took, the huge magnitude of proportions because of the goof-ups. And we at India Today have showed how there were at least 3 goof-ups by the police. First, the sample that was sent, the blood sample for alcohol test, that was not enough. So the FSL laboratory had written to the Kolkata police saying that there was just 0.5 milliliters of sample rather than 10 milliliter that is required. Secondly, he was not booked in a non-bailable section. He was booked for a bailable section. And thirdly, what we found was twice when Vikram was being interrogated at the police station, in a case of severe, indiscipline, we could see the police officers playing carom with the, Vikram's father, with the father of the culprit here in question. So these, raise questions about the nature of the probe and whether the intent of the Kolkata police was fine. Therefore, Sonika's family, in fact, wrote to the Kolkata Police Commissioner. And let me just read out to you the statement that has now been issued on behalf of Sonika's family by the lawyer. The family stating that the administration and the Kolkata police has moved in a very professional manner to reach this stage. From here onwards, we will continue the pursuit of justice for Sonika. So the family has always kept their faith as far as the police investigation is concerned. They have kept a very dignified silence. We have not heard from Vikram, from Sonika's mother or father so far. So they are maintaining a dignified silence, keeping their faith on the Kolkata police. Because remember, just as Vikram is a very renowned actor here in Kolkata, Sonika's family too is pretty well connected, both politically as well as socially, as far as Kolkata circles are concerned.
All right, Indrajit, so one thing could be attributed to this arrest is also the public outcry and the pressure. And the sad part is because the heartbroken parents of Sonika are till date demanding justice and a proper probe and investigation, which sadly the Kolkata police has let them down. The very fact, Indrajit, that there wasn't a blood alcohol test conducted on Vikram. There is no evidence to actually suggest that he was inebriated. Now, this charge sheet has been built on interrogation and eyewitness accounts. Does it actually, or can it rather, stand in court?
Well, Preeti, the blunder was done initially when the blood sample of 0.5 millimeter that was sent to the FSL laboratory. The laboratory, in its turn replied back saying that it is not enough. But that is not the only sample that was sent for testing. There are other, forensic reports that are handy with the police at this point who wants to build a watertight case now. There was a water bottle inside Vikram's car which had a liquid. The liquid had been sent for forensic testing, and now the report has come which confirms that there was alcohol in it. So the police now believes that he did not only consume alcohol at the party at a club, but he also consumed alcohol while he was at the steering wheel while he was driving the car.
Okay.
A very serious charge. Also, the forensic report of that very ill-fated car has also been received by the police, and it clearly shows that Vikram was speeding. He was driving at anywhere between 95 to 100 kilometers per hour. And along with that, coupled with the testimonies that has been given by Sonika's friends, at least 4 of them, before the court, it does make for a definitely strong case against Vikram. And that's why, even though an anticipatory bail was moved by Vikram's lawyer, as he stated just a short while back, the hearing of which was supposed to be on July 13th, that is next week. But the police today preempted that and has already arrested him and taken him into custody.
All right, let's just see what kind of evidence actually crops up in this case, because sadly, the ones who have let down Sonika Chauhan is actually the Kolkata police, not being able to cobble up a case at all. But that's, of course, open to investigation right now. They say that they have been able to figure out enough evidence, but let's see how that pans out. Appreciate you joining us.